So, Wizards of the Coast seems to be doubling down on its marketing towards Japanophiles, otakus, whatnot, because there is actually another Wizards of the Coast TCG out there called Duel Masters. People probably don't know about it because it is the Duel Masters 20th anniversary and they're actually doing a collaboration with Magic the Gathering by reprinting cards like the Black Lotus. Yes, that card. It's somewhat surprising, those of us who only focus on Magic the Gathering, but people in the West think that Duel Masters died out. The TCG English print of the game has stopped, but the OCG, the original card game, continues to this day. It is the Japanese language only version of this trading card game. Here in Malaysia, it is played mainly by people who can read and speak Japanese. There is a thriving community of players out there in Japan and overseas market. So, Duel Masters, how did it get started in the first place? The Duel Masters card game only kicked off from when the manga 7th volume came out. So here's the really confusing thing. Back in the day, there was this manga called Duel Masters. The first 6 volumes of this, which ran from 1999 to 2005, featured a character playing actual Magic the Gathering in the lore, like he's playing Magic the Gathering in the manga, and somehow isekai shenanigans, he eventually plays a new game called Duel Masters, and that was when they launched the Duel Masters card game, the OCG and eventually the TCG. So there is a history of Magic the Gathering within the lore of this game. The following years, they kind of like diverted and create their own game. They collaborated with many other franchises, which, by the way, if Universes Beyond is a new concept to Magic the Gathering players, this is something that's been happening for years and years and years in the Japanese TCG scene. And for the 20th anniversary of Duel Masters, they're going back in time. There's literally a video where the main character steps through a portal and comes through from his timeline, which, by the way, there is a few manga showing what if the main character continued playing Magic the Gathering. He stepped through and told the other protagonist, hey, what if you actually continue playing Magic the Gathering? And that's the basis for the 20th anniversary Huge Thanks Memorial Pack, the chapter of Shadow Parallel Masters. Yes, that is the name of a whole set called DMEX 18. And for the promotional art, they actually have a bunch of very iconic Magic the Gathering art and Jace just looming in the background there. That's the poster. That's pretty cool. Just to note, this is actually not the first time Magic the Gathering cards have been printed. Duel Masters cards, they actually started with the infamous Jace the Mind Sculptor. Headcanon, this is what's actually happening. In the lore of Magic the Gathering, our planeswalkers Jace and Nicobas must have traveled to many planes, and this is the interpretation of them in that specific isekai. So yeah, there's a third art called Mitzi, the Guardian of Development Department. This references an actual statue in Wizards of the Coast. Duel Masters takes cards that are, in the lore, but also based on our reality. And then in 2019, printed this dual card. They called it the Twin Pack card. Cyber K Wozurek, and the lower half was Wozurek's Inquisition. The name sounds slightly familiar because Wozurek's Inquisition was inspired a little bit by Kozilek's Inquisition. That's an Eldrazi. Yeah, that means the Eldrazi, if you remember in the lore, and this is another headcanon of mine, the last time we saw Kozilek and when he appeared again between Rise of the Eldrazi and Oath of the Gatewatch, Kozilek wasn't around on Zendikar. Maybe he planeswalked to this other realm and appeared as Wozurek. So Wozurek is Kozilek. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see if they ever confirm this, but yeah. And then in 2020, they printed Black Lotus and Emrakul. Now, yeah, let me just talk about Emrakul for a bit. And yes, I just said Black Lotus. They printed Black Lotus as a Duel Masters card. It's not the godly rarity, but it is pretty cool to reference that, I suppose. If you can't get a Black Lotus Magic Gathering, get a Black Lotus in Duel Masters, why don't you? Emrakul. So I want to say something about this. Emrakul is printed as Emrakul. It wasn't printed as Wozurek was. What if Emrakul is printed as Emrakul because it's referencing the Zendikar plane from the point of view of the Duel Masters plane? But because Kozilek actually planeswalked into the Duel Masters plane, so its appearance changed into Wozurek, whereas Emrakul has always been over there. So even its framing and its name and everything remains as it was there. So if Emrakul somehow plane shifted into the Duel Masters plane, maybe his name would have changed. That's just me guessing. Then there's Lava Coil. Similar card, they just changed the art to the protagonist. And then they did something quite interesting here. Mons Goblin Raiders. This is a card we have not seen for years and years and years. It references a card in the super early days of Magic the Gathering, and it actually references a actual Magic the Gathering designer named Mons Johnson. The art of Mons Goblin Raiders in Duel Masters, you can actually see Mons Johnson sitting right next to a Goblin King, so that's a bit cheeky. Reminds me of the way they did Mitzi. And then they have Sarah's Angel. Interestingly, they used the old art for Sarah's Angel. I suppose because it's the more famous art, that's the one that maybe the designers grew up seeing. So yeah, we come to 2020. They reprinted a lot of the older Magic the Gathering Duel Masters collaboration cards, but they added a few more. And this time they focused on the use of the retro Magic the Gathering frames. Interestingly, not all of these Duel Masters cards appeared in this particular old frame Magic the Gathering. They just used it as a neo-retro kind of thing going on. You've got Living Death, Urza's Rage, Earthquake, Birds of Paradise, Sliver Queen. There are slivers in Duel Masters now. Hope it doesn't overwhelm that plane. There's the Library of Alexandria, Brainstorm, Muscle Sliver. Oh no, there are 2 slivers. So there you go. Sliver's gonna take over the Duel Masters plane. Pouncing Jaguar. Not all of these used the original art. Some of them had reimagined art. It would be interesting if the next few Magic Gathering sets printed Magic Gathering cards using this new art from Duel Masters. There'll be one hell of a to and fro going on. And of course, I just need to bring this up. There is a Magic Gathering card, a special one made the Duel Masters reward in 2016, made specifically, I believe, for staff who worked on Duel Masters as well, called Nira the Hellkite Duelist. I couldn't find a Nira in the Duel Masters cards, but yeah, I think the art style kind of looks very Duel Masters, and it probably represents a 5-color rainbow creature from DueMa. Yeah, I'm hoping to go out there and get some Duel Masters cards just to collect some of these, I suppose. I really wanted Black Lotus, just for the sake of it. Yeah. Anyway, if you like what you see and hear here, please give us a like, maybe drop a comment, share this with your family and friends, and yeah, maybe hit the bell button because there's a lot more deep dives coming your way. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Kaki Tabletop official social media channels.